So welcome everyone to this Evolutionaries Discuss forum, and today we're talking about 2017 and the power of intention. And Christian Kyriacou has very kindly agreed to do an opening alignment. So over to you, Christian.
Thank you. Welcome all. Well, I've just acquired a set of solfeggio tuning forks. And the solfeggio scale, if we're not aware, is a very natural cosmic harmonic set of frequencies. And the one I'll play to start with is the 528, which is the DNA repair frequency. So just receive it and see what it does to your energy fields. What I've realized is intention without alignment to one's sole purpose is totally futile. It makes no sense to have an intention that is totally ego-based, rah-rah-based, if it's not what you're here for. And I've had a few knocks and whacks by the universe getting me back into line, especially with trying to get my main work, The House Whisperer, out on TV. And that's been about 16 years now since I started that process. And it's been very ego-driven. I want to be famous. I want to be on TV. And year by year, it's been knocked back, creating promos and demos and not getting anywhere. And still not getting the message. It's not in alignment with what I'm here for. So 217 for me is really clear that music and music healing, and interestingly, these kind of just came along, a whole set of these. So I'll be working a lot more with that and running more gong bath healing groups, which I have been in the past. But it's like bringing it all together for a very purpose now. And even this morning, people are dropping in through Facebook who are connected with music and running music studios. And it's like, I don't have to do anything. Once that intention and clarity is there, it comes to you and you just have to respond. And that's what I've been doing this morning. And it is magic. It's the magic of the universe. It really is extraordinary.
2017 adds up just 10. 1 plus 0 makes 1, making 2017 a number 1 year. Number 1 year is a year of leadership, foundation, and setting strong intentions so that when you think of the words that rhyme with, that add up to the number 1, we have blissful, DNA, spirit, goddess, pioneer, union, discipline, vitality, and namaste. And for me, intention is setting something deep within you that is real for you. That when you set it, you feel it. And then when you feel it, you believe it. And then you want to take action to manifest it. And this is fine. Intention is when you decide you're ready for a change. And because you decide you're ready for a change, you take the actions to make the necessary change.
Okay. Hello everyone. My name is Fiona Radman. I teach intuition and guidance. So we're talking about the power of intention in 2017. And what is really important with the power of intention is very clear what you intend to create. And I'd like to talk about it by telling a story when I was very clear in my intention. And after living abroad for some years, I came back and being a Londoner, I couldn't find work in London. And I got work in Nottinghamshire. I was a knitwear designer. Fantastic job, good salary, overseas travel, car, everything. But I realised I wasn't a Nottinghamshire girl, and I kept returning to London. So after about a year, I decided I had to go back to London. I was absolutely clear. Heart, mind, soul, everything. I had to go back to London. There was absolutely no question. I would do anything. But I needed to stay and work to earn money. So then once you're clear on the intention, you then start looking at how can I help myself? Well, obviously you start looking for work, you start calling people, you start networking, whatever it is you need to do, you do it. And you do it with a really good energy. So I started looking out. Then after a couple of months, the company I was working for lost business, and around 25-30% of the workforce were made redundant. I didn't think it would cover me because I was designing the product. The MD pulled in consultants and he said, Fiona, I don't need you anymore because I'm going to use consultants instead of having a full-time designer. I'm going to let you go. And I was thrilled to bits that my job had disappeared. I was being paid to go back to London. Okay, so my intentions had completely come true in a way I absolutely didn't expect. So I just wanted to say from a story, be clear in your intentions, put fantastic energy into helping them to come about, expect them to come about, and then they may very well come from an unexpected angle. I never expected the job to be made redundant. So, Rachel, that's what I wanted to say. So for 2017, those are my ideas about the power of intention.
I love the idea of intention, and I've actually been caught out by it before, where I've made an intention and I've tried to control it. So for me, a lot of the energy behind that intention is of letting go. So it's a gentle experience of a decision, and sometimes that decision isn't loud and it isn't fiery. It's just a knowing, a very deep knowing that this is what I would like, and then I put it out to the universe and say, you know, if this is the best for me, I welcome it in, and then I do everything in my power to work towards that. But I'm noticing that I have lots of reluctance now to try and control it and make it happen. In fact, I often think that if I've made it happen and it arrives just exactly as I said it would, then I've probably had quite a hand in controlling that. So I get very excited when things come from left field and surprise me and turn out quite unexpectedly, because I know then that that's happened for me as opposed to by me. Because I think sometimes ego can get involved with intention and say, I can do this, I'm going to make this happen. And you can trip over that too if then it doesn't happen. Oh, I somehow did it wrong, or I somehow didn't have a strong enough intention. And those magical moments that have happened in my life where I've had an intention, I've been able to let it go, have been amazing, and they've nearly always been a left field, completely unexpected event, a bit like Fiona was describing earlier.
Hi, I'm Sandy Humby, and I'm an energy alchemist. I work specifically with roses, and I work specifically with heart frequencies. So it's really interesting, you know, this whole conversation around intention. And if I'm looking at it from an energetic perspective, you know, this is so connected to the spectrum of frequency that we hold on our hearts, that is our truth and our story. Because the heart, in its spectrum of frequency, holds the sum total of all of the stories of our journey in our lives and how we feel about ourselves. And my sense is that, you know, we come in as a soul code, and we come in with our gifts and our area of self-mastery that we're seeking this lifetime. And we embed into the genetic coding of the family that we choose to birth into. And that sets us up on our journey to self-mastery. Well, until we have done a fair bit of that journey, it is the heart that will attract to us. It's our attractor factor. It will attract to us the people and the experiences and the opportunities that allow us to grow and that allow us to fully experience and heal, you know, the stories that we've got that distort the heart light, or that create a field where it doesn't matter what our intention is, if the subtext behind it says, I don't have the self-esteem, I don't have the self-value, I don't have the personal willpower to fully carry this vision I have out into the world, you know, we are constantly setting ourselves up for disappointment. But if we come into that place where we see what we're experiencing outside of ourselves, and yet also have this connection within us as to what lights us up, what gives our lives meaning, what gives a sense of uniqueness to our gifts and our story, we can get to a place where there is sufficient clarity and sufficient alignment within our energy to receive that divine sparkle, that divine inspiration, and have the power and the presence to put that energy out into the world. And like Jackie was saying, you know, allow the universe then to bring to us all that is needed to allow that to manifest in our lives.
So I just want to pick up, Jackie, on what you said about this making stuff happen, because there is a whole industry around that visioning and action, and that very, what I would kind of say, a bit of a kind of masculine old paradigm way of manifesting, which is just sheer brute force of, it's kind of Donald Trump style manifestation, like a bulldozer just plowing through the rainforest kind of thing. So just talk just a little bit about that, because I know you've been to some of those rah-rah kind of events, and it's very alluring, isn't it, to get pulled into that very, it's almost ferocious, that world of the Tony Robbins world of punch the air and yes, and I'm going to make this happen through sheer brute force kind of manifestation.
Well, I think one of the things is they're using extremely refined techniques like NLP and things like that, which really do affect us emotionally, and they do have an impact on the way we think. And some people, that's especially what they need. So I'm not putting any of these people down. I think it's really important. Some people need the kick up the bum to actually get going, and they would turn up to an event like that. I know several people who've done those type of events, and it's radically changed their energy, and it's taken them from a place where they felt disempowered to a place where they really felt much more responsible for their own outcome and their own lives. And I think it's important when you go to an event like that to step back a little bit and just notice what's happening. And it may be that you really need to be involved, and maybe you need to be involved for reasons that you don't understand at that stage. And it may be that that's not for you, and that you're noticing the impact it's having on other people. So it's an interesting discussion to have. And I'm reluctant to do the male-female sectioning off these days. I'm trying to see everything much more as a whole. So there is some feminine in Donald Trump, and there is some masculine in other people that are very feminine. So I think actually it's much more about an overall energy which is calling people, and it doesn't really matter who calls them, how they get called. To me, what's important is that they've had that wake up that has said, are you where you want to be? Do you want to go somewhere else? How are you going to get there? Am I the one to take you there? And it could be that these people are absolutely the people to take them there, and other people will be guided to work with other souls, other leaders, other people who will be more in tune with their thinking.
Sandy, just to come back to something you said there, because this is a very interesting point, is that when we set an intention, there's a temptation to want all the beautifulness of it to manifest. And actually what often happens is all of our demons come up, and all of the very things that are blocking it to show us what is standing in the way. And then we get into a battle with life of, that's not what I wanted.
Yeah.
Actually, so, go away, bad stuff, because essentially we're being shown the polar opposite of what we want, because for the very reason we don't have it. So talk to us a bit about that resistance and the whole, our demons coming up and blocks and so on.
Well, always, if there is still part of our story and part of our own resistance is within the body to fully living our magnificence, then it's like it comes in as a thought first. That thought comes into the physical body, and we sort of check it out and think, whoa, yeah, that feels really good. Yes, that feels like it's an exciting thing to do. Then it has to drop to the solar plexus for that, because that's our center of personal will. Well, have you got the personal will that is going to allow you to be the carrier for that? Because as soon as you start to speak about your vision or what you would love to have, sure as eggs, your fears are going to show themselves first. And it's like, do you really want this? Do you really think you deserve this? Do you really think that you are going can have this? And if there's any subtext behind that visioning, that's got to be cleared first, because otherwise there isn't a resonance within your heart field to what you're desiring.
Because I know that you've just come through a whole sort of maelstrom of life challenges, and it's the classic thing of Jesus goes to face his demons, and the Buddha has the same struggle before he reaches enlightenment. So it's almost like that, and I know that from doing medicine, it's like having to go through the darkness to get to the light. So just talk a bit about that, Sandy.
Well, it's interesting because I think it was Beverley that said that this is a 9-year, and it's a completion of a cycle. It's a completion of and it's felt to me like an initiation. This year, this 2016 has been an extremely challenged place for me to navigate. I mean, it has been the perfect storm. Everything that I haven't dealt with, everything that I've sort of tried to push away has it's gone, no. If you want to be a radiant being of light, if you want to be the rose, if you want to carry this frequency into 217 in this next spiral of its expression, you have to deal with this, and you have to deal with that. And so, it's been just like trying to navigate the perfect storm. And interestingly, I was on one of the last flights that came out of New York when Hurricane Sandy hit. And I amused myself coming back home, driving home the other day, because it's like, what is a perfect storm? Hurricane Sandy set up the conditions for a perfect storm into the East Coast. And I was very blessed to take the last flight out of Newark. But, that's really what I've been experiencing. It's like the cleanup of all of the pieces that I've been working with just came, at points I haven't thought I was going to survive this. That it was just going to take me out. I was, but steadily I've had to work through it to come to this place of just being able to be that point at which I can open to bring heaven on earth, to bring light back in, to go back out into 217.
Quite exciting. The other aspect I wanted to add to this for everyone is we can have the intention, we can be in alignment, but the other really crucial ingredient is our space, our home. Are all the 9 areas of life, from number 1 right through to number 9, which is the manifestation, the fame, the illumination, the clarity, is our home set up and clear enough and in alignment to allow our intention to actually go through the whole cycle, to actually manifest fully and be at its maximum production? And the people I work with, as you know, have got lots of intentions, and but their spaces are not in alignment. So that you can start off with 100%, I really want to do something, and by the time it gets anywhere close to filtering through their life's 3D space, it hasn't got any power left. So we can't ignore that aspect, that we've learned in feng shui and space clearing and house whispering. We've got to get our homes set up so that intention can flow through the mechanism of the of the 5 elements or the 5 elemental world.
The other, to turn that round, Christian, it's also a kind of case of saying, what is my home telling me about where my blocks and demons are that are standing in the way of the flow? Because
Totally.
I know this with the cottage. It's suddenly, my boys have suddenly decided to swap rooms, and it's just catastrophe. There's chaos. There's clutter everywhere, and it's just that I'm trying to pin it down and keep it clean, clear, light, bright, and then suddenly everything's like a Rubik's cube, messed up completely. And it's and it's sitting with, what's that showing me about how I've got all these intentions. I'm really clear from Peru, and I come back into this chaos, and then I'm trying to control chaos, as opposed to, like, what's the chaos showing me? Like, what are the demons showing me, as opposed to getting rid of the demons and just clearing it? It's like, what am I being shown here that is out of alignment, that is...
But that is the whole point of the house whispering work, is to allow the house to illuminate what is. That's it. It's what is. What you do with it is part of your whole life process and soul alignment. But the house does totally mirror the soul's depth, the dark stuff, the good stuff, everything, the whole package. And if we can learn to read it, which is, again, the work I do with people, it allows people to see it, to get to the aha moment, and then decide whether they're going to take that on board and empower themselves and allow the transformation to happen. You can't do it for them, but my work is to illuminate that for people. Then they have the choice. We always have the choice at the end of the day.
Looking at it from an energetic point of view, we need to have a clear and aligned base chakra that allows us the stability and the structure to actually hold the energy of what we're looking to manifest and create. So that power of clarity in our intention needs to be connected and married to a field of possibility, a field of receiving in the body.
Okay, I just wanted to say something that I heard for the first time this year, and that's relating to intention, and it was this imposter syndrome. It's not something I've ever really spoken of before, but it does seem as if there's an energy there of not being worth something that you have an intention for. So it seems really important that we spend time just really accessing our own value and what we think we're able to receive. Because sometimes we can have an intention and then secretly, as an underlying unconscious thought, we think, oh, but who am I to even ask for something like that? Who am I to even warrant such a treat or an intention? So if that isn't matching, then the universe is going to try and give something to you, and if you're not able to receive it, then it's not going to manifest. So it feels important to sit with any feeling of being an imposter and who am I? And as you said so brilliantly earlier, Rachel, about the message of who am I not to shine? So sometimes what can feel like arrogance is exactly the opposite of that. And it's who am I not to step into my power and to enable other people to do the same.
So just to explain on that ties into the kind of Esther Hicks law of attraction, doesn't it? About having clarity of intention. The law of attraction is always working, but then it's the art of allowing, about how do we bring ourselves into alignment with the thing that we choose to receive. And as Fiona said that bringing ourselves into that higher vibration so that we can allow it to manifest out of the vortex, to put it in Abraham Hicks terminology.
Yeah, exactly that. It's like listening to the longing of the heart, as Sandy described, and then knowing that we've had that longing for a reason and that we deserve to receive it, so that it's a perfect match. And just dealing with any stories that will come up that say, I'm not allowed to, it's not my turn, someone else needs it more than me, if I have it then someone else can't have it, any scarcity thoughts, any feelings of not being worth or having that value, and just questioning them as I do. And once you're questioning them, they dissolve, they disappear, and you step back into who you really are, which is a perfect match to that intention if it's come from a longing in your heart. I wondered if you could just speak for a minute about the fabulous manifesting that you've done, because you've done it very publicly on Facebook with your house moves and your work and the whole of Source TV. So it would be really interesting, I think, to hear your take on all this.
Well, I will, of course, cut this out, but as you asked...
Well, I wouldn't.
The interesting thing on that is that D Sunshine has been a bit of a thorn in my side all of this year, and one of his parting jibes was, you talk about all this stuff, but you do nothing practically to help people. And I actually launched into a sort of text diatribe to him of, actually, do you know what? Here's what I've done in 2016. And I've manifested the mansion, I've hosted hundreds of people, I've done amazing events, I relaunched Source, I did Evolutionaries, a summit at Tyringham, I launched a prosperity network, I wrote a book. Well, how much fucking more do you want me to manifest? You know, it's like, well, what the fuck have you done? And I got into all of my anger, and I realized what a gift he was for have poked me. Because having people in our life that prod us and poke us and piss us off, they're actually really valuable, because they kind of bring all of the pus out of the wound, don't they? To kind of, and when I'd written that, I thought, actually, yeah, like you don't have to be abused anymore, and you don't have to abuse yourself anymore by holding yourself. It was a really, really interesting little exercise that the universe has sent me. So. Yeah. So
maybe his job was just to help you to see what you'd done.
Exactly. That was the realization, and then it was moving out of anger into that gracias for the teaching, you know. And of course, now he's completely evaporated, and he did evaporate several times and then re-manifest. And it is like in medicine, is that you just, when you think you've transcended, it comes back in again, and it's like, aha, I'm back.
Yeah.
You know, and it says really interesting that I'm really interested in shadow work, as you know, because I think that is where all of the growth, all of the jewels are in the darkness, you know, being ready to be mined, and that's the way through to the light. That's my experience of it.
Yes. I'd just like to say, because I teach intuition and guidance, this is what is really deeply meaningful to me. So everything everybody has said previously about energy is obviously really important, and your external environment. So everyone's been talking about what's going on around you, whether it's your home, your children, your family, what's going on in the world outside around you. So that intuitively, as you just said, your intuition has kicked in and said, hang on, hold on, there's chaos. Right, what does it mean? So instead of just, as Jackie might do, go and try and control it, your awareness is picking up on what's going on around you and saying, hold on, there's something I need to know. And this is so important. When you set, there are two things I want to say about intention. One is when you set the intention, you're clear about it, you want it with all your heart and soul, and it doesn't happen, and it doesn't happen, and it doesn't happen. So your job, as it were, is to say, okay, so what's going on around me? What's my intuition telling me? What is my sixth sensory connection to the spiritual world? I have this connection, I have this gift, I have this ability to read the energy of what's going around me. So that is an ability we all have. You can use that ability and develop that ability in order to meet your intentions. So that's one area I wanted to highlight. And the second one, again, was when your intentions don't happen naturally, and for whatever reason, your intention is not coming to fruition. It's just to be compassionate. It's just to say, okay, maybe for whatever reason it's not working at the moment, so I'm just going to be kind to myself, be compassionate, and just relax about it. But the compassion and the self-love and the self-acceptance is like a foundation in which you can, how do you put it, in which you just not worry. You know what your intention is. If you're clear on it and you put good energy into it and you love it so much, just say, okay, it's coming. It's absolutely coming. As everybody has said, all in their different ways, my wishes are coming. So in the meantime, I'm going to be kind to myself. So I'm going to hold a really fantastic energy of kindness and love for myself. As Sandy said, I'm going to hold myself in my heart space. This is where it all happens. The heart frequency is everything. So just whatever's happening in 2017 for you, whatever your intentions, but just to be kind to yourself as you go through. Some intentions will come true and some won't. And just that kindness is really important.
Okay. Thank you all so much for coming on today. It's been wonderful. On and have a wonderful 2017.
Thank you.
Bye for now. Bye-bye.